Good morning. Welcome to On the Level Racing channel. What a feast of racing we've got over the next 5 days. Royal Ascot has managed to get on board, which is pretty good work by all concerned, regardless of what situations we are in at the moment. At the moment, we're not doing too bad this month. Well, I think we've just dropped in just under the deficit of about minus £8 or £9 for the month, which isn't really that bad considering it's been some few tough races to try and get some results. So we're going to have a look at Royal Ascot, and we're going to start off here at the Royal Ascot, which is the Buckingham Palace handicap. There's a few here that I think can really just move the camera a bit here, guys, just so I can get on board with the big screen behind me, in front of me, so I can get some views better. Okay, here we go. So anyway, so looking into this, we've got a very strong favourite in this race from the John Gosden yard. You can't get the fact away from John Gosden's horses at the moment. I mean, Victoria comes in for the ride. Great partnership. We know how good Victoria's Ascot, and he rides here on a very nice horse here by called Derek. I mean, he's in about 4-1 favourite, 7-2 in places, and most of his form's been on the all-weather. Obviously, his first run back was at Newcastle when landing a Class 2 handicap, won by 3 parts of a length, and won it quite well under Rob Havlin. Prior to that, with wins at Kempton and Newcastle. So, you have to take the form with a pinch of salt. He's got to divert that form to turf, which is not going to be easy. And really, I think he's got a fair enough draw. I mean, he's drawing in the top half of the draw, which is not that very bad from stall 21. However, I do think it's going to be a very hard passage there for Frankie to try and get the first win on the board of the week. Two that have been in really good form, and I do like this a big price 21, and that is Glen Shiel of Archie Watson. Now his yards have really just started to come into really good form, and as the fact Holly Doyle is running exceptionally well for the trainer, I don't think you can disregard this horse from stall 10. I won't be surprised here if they all split into two groups, but I think most of the winners will come, I think, from either stalls 1 to 6 or anything above. Any runners over 20 runners, we're probably looking at it from stall 22, 23 onwards. So Glen Shill's in that middle barrier a little bit, but you can't take away that the horse has a very good benefit of a good run recently. When finishing second at Newcastle, off a mark of 100. He's had a couple of wins on the all-weather, but hasn't had a turf win in his country. The last win on the turf came in listed company over 9 furlongs, went with Andre Faber. So it's if this horse can divert the all-weather form onto the turf. But then again, around 18-1 is not a bad price for an each-way bet. I won't put you off the horse at all, especially from a yard and a jockey that's running exceptionally well at the moment. Others in the race, I think you have to have a look at Queso, Ois in Murphy's mount here for Nigel Tinkler. Again, trainer at 11-2, 6-1. And again, another horse that's come off the back of a reasonably run race, first time out this year, behind Derek at Newcastle. And we'll have to make quite a lot of ground up, almost 7.5 lengths. That's a hell of a lot deficit to expect this horse to jump especially as Derek's fancy. But this horse has got Ascot form. I mean, we saw this horse finish second to Raising Sands in the International Stakes at the back in July. Never ran at Royal Ascot last year, but the form line around Ascot is quite exceptional. In fact, 2/3 and a second. So you have to respect this horse, especially on over 7 furlongs. And I won't write you off about Queso with a big run here. About 8-1, 9-1 generally. One I do like, and a horse that will go fresh, very well fresh, is Henry Candy's horse here, is Greenside. Now, about 18-1, very good second on soft ground here back in October, when in the Bet365 Challenge Cup, behind a horse called Kinren. I was only beaten half a length. They were staying on really, really well. I mean, Kinren got first run. And, and the thing about Kinren wasn't the kind of horse that it doesn't win that often. And excuse the coffee, guys. It's the fact that it was a pretty incredible run, regardless. Hasn't really got Royal Ascot form, which will worry me a little bit. But however, I mean, I just think the last run on soft ground. I mean, I think the ground will go good to soft. It's going good at the moment, but I think we might see a bit of softish ground as the weather goes on during the week. I mean, the rain is forecast. But then again, like I said, up £5, Greenside. Goes very well fresh for Henry Candy. Marco Garni comes in with a £5 claim. The only concern for me now, the horse has been drawn in 23, but I just worry about a little bit about the fact that there's been no apprentice to win this race over the last 10 years. So obviously it's quite a feat for the young jockey there. But I'm going to put up 2 against the field. Because we've got 24 runners in the field. There's 3 reserves there, so we're not too sure if they're going to get in. I doubt it. So the 2 against the field here, I'm going to put one is I think Queso is going to run a big race here. Stall 13, not the idealist draw, but bang in the middle. Oisin Murphy can't do nothing wrong at the moment. Great jockey. And I would like to see him at least in the top 4 here, which will be top 4 place, I think, with most firms. And around, he's at the moment, he's 13-2, 7-1. 7-1 is probably the best price for him at the moment. So I think at 1 point each way at 7-1 is pretty reasonable on Queso in the 115 at Ascot. Others I want to put up in the race here. I'm going to have a little stab here, only a small little bit here, 1/4 point each way. On a horse called Greenside, about 18-1, I think, generally. I'll just double check that price for you. He's 20-1, so I think a 1/4 point each way at 21 on Greenside. This horse could run quite well first time out fresh. We move on to the 150, which is the first Group 1 of the week, which is the Queen Anne Stakes. And you can give quite a few in this race a good chance. Is Circus Maximus worth taking on? Now, by far the best horse in the race, by Galileo. Galileo is just picking up Group 1s for fun at the moment. And the fact that O'Brien's got a good record on this race speaks quite high volumes. I think the trainer's won this now 2 or 3 times, I think. His last win, though, came way back in 2013. The thing about Circus Maximus, he is the Group 1 horse in the field. The only Group 1 horse in the field that's been there and done it. I just think from stall 4, which is not a bad draw, don't get me wrong, over a mile straight, it's a pretty reasonable draw, stall 4. He's a very, very smart, I found 4, but it was a very smart 3-year-old. The horse's form around Ascot. He was the winner of the Jersey Stakes last year, Group 1. So got great Group 1 form. So I think it has to be respected. But the price is just too short for me. I mean, it's generally about 9-4, 5-2, or three. You can get 3-1 with William Hill, but generally 9-4. I think it's too short for this. I mean, considering if we go back over the course of the years, I mean, we haven't seen a winning favourite since Ribchester 3 years ago. However, the last couple of years we've seen outsiders win the race. You know, there's been some big shocks in here especially from stall one. So as I said, the low draw will benefit Circus Maximus quite a lot. It's from draw one this year. Who's picked up the bogus draw? Space Traveller. Clever Logistics horse. Really, Fahy and Todd Hoop. No, I won't put this horse past running a big race here again. I mean, last year's Jersey Stakes winner, when beating Space Blues. I mean, Space Blues looks better than ever this year. Charlie Appleby's horse. I mean, he beat the kinds of likes of Marines Diamond, who's gone on recently, won at Newmarket. Happy Power's gone on one. I mean, likes of Duke of Hazard he beat there. So, you know, it's cracking form. It's just the fact is, can he get the mile? I mean, his form over a mile is not okay. Yeah, he won a Group 2. He won the Clipper de Logistics Boomerang Stakes over in Ireland, over a mile. It was on good ground. It was on this ground actually. But I think his horse is better than 7 for me. I think the price will reflect his chances. I mean, yeah, he's about 25 to 1 shot here. You know, it would be a shock for me for Space Traveller to not to win this race. Yeah. But there is one. You got John Gosden's horse down the bottom here, the filly, Teremblium. Now, I don't think this horse is situated very well in the draw, stall 8, but the Dania Stakes has been a very, very good form line for this race over the years. And the fact that Teremblium won that at Newmarket with Queen Power back in second by 11 1/4, and he did it well. But he came there well on the Frankie Dettori, and he just went away in the final furlong, and it was quite impressive. I mean, he had the likes of Magic Lily back in there in third. So, you know, you can't write this horse off. I mean, they reckon John Gosden seems to think this is a very exciting horse, and I mean, owned by Godolphin. Godolphin do have a reasonable record on this race, I believe. Yeah, they haven't done too bad over the years. I mean, this hasn't been a great race for you know, the likes of the Irish trained horses, which is quite unusual. So Maria's Diamond will be. She's going to definitely make it a good clip for Teremblium to aim at. Same as Circus Maximus, you know, and we have to have a little look here. Another horse here, Willie Haggis's horse. James Dawes running well on Scardo. It's always quite big at 16 to 1. I mean, Ascot form. I mean, fourth last year in the St James Palace Stakes behind Circus Maximus. Beaten 11.5 in fourth, and that was a very good run. And he was beaten at Goodwood in the Celebration Mile by Dukes of Hazard as well to 11.75. They were over a mile. Obviously, it's got to look to change them from around them pair. But it'd be interesting to see how well Scardo goes in his ground. One at a price I thought could run well is Roger Varian's horse here. Now I think this horse is drawn 12, about 14 to 1. Ran in the Hampton Court Stakes last year, finished 5th of 13 by Sangarius. Sangarius hasn't really impressed me. I think he's been beaten recently. But the form line is good, because back in November, he won the Marshall Stakes Solicitor event when beating a horse called Century Dream. That was on heavy ground. So obviously any more rain for this Roseman, it will be very interesting. I mean, as we know, Century Dream has come out again and landed the Diamond Group 3, Diamond Stakes Group 3 over at Newmarket, last week. So that has to be respected. That kind of form. And that was the second time the horse won the race. So you've got to respect, I think, Roseman here. Nice Kingman colt. Just not ideally drawn. That's the down part of it. But at a price against the likely favourite here, I mean that's 14 to 1. I won't be putting myself off having a bet there. I mean Teremblium's coming in here at 7 to 2. Circus Maximus at 9 to 4. Others we haven't spoke about. Marcus Dragoni's horse, Mahathir. Again, our Amdara Maktoum horse. You might as well say Godolphin because they're usually connected. Last seen here, Ascot and Heavy Grand, the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, finishing 5th. The King of Change, and I thought that was quite a good run under Jim Crowley. And I wouldn't put you off a little bet on Muthahira at a good price, about 14 to 1. 12 to 1 you can get a bet way, which is pretty good, considering most of them are going about 8s and 10s. But I'm going to stick my neck out here. I know each way bet. I'm not going to go madly. I think Bet 365 are overrating this horse. I think. I mean, 18 to 1 on Roseman's quite a big price for Vojavarian, but I'm just worried about the draw still 12. Tremblay hasn't got the greatest draw. I mean, the draw factor here is that Circus Maximum has got the draw for Ryan Moore and AP O'Brien. And the way the yards run at the moment, they're just starting to fire now. So I think, you can put a case for about 3 or 4 in this race, really. And like I said, Circus Maximus, 9 to 4, Mushathir, 14s, Roseman at 18s, and Teremblium, 9 to 2. I think Teremblium might be a case of she's going to be a little bit, she's going to lack the experience, I think, in this kind of field. I mean, okay, yeah, she won the Group 2, like I said, the Dahlia Stakes, and no Queen of Power in here. Queen of Power goes somewhere else. I think I'm going to have to put 2 up in the race again. I mean, it's 16 runners. You're going to get first 3 in the race, but I know we're going to spend a bit of money this week. We know you are, so just bear with me. It's if I can get two or 3 winners a day, even 2 winners a day, and they paid the money back and make us a profit, that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to step out here. I'm going to put my balls in the chain here, and I'm going to come up with. I'm going to stick with Circus Maximus here, 2-point win at 3 to 1 William Hill. I can't get away with the horse to be brilliantly drawn ahead of his adversaries here. And a little each way here, 1/4 point each way on Roseman, trained about 18 to 1 and Bet 365. So that would be the 2 horses in that race in the Queen Anne Stakes, the 150. Don't worry, guys, I'm going to read all these back afterwards anyway, so just so you don't miss them. We go on to the 225s of Riversdale Stakes, and I'm out on the fence here on the favourite, Franklin's Darling. Again, Gosden and Dettori, but these guys could be having a fantastic week, I think. Picked up on Maiden when winning over at Newcastle on the 1st of June. Prior to that, I finished second to a horse called Ciabatta, which has been beaten. That form line, Ciabatta, that form line is quite concerning because I didn't think Ciabatta was beaten by Franconia recently, back on Newbury this weekend. So I don't know. I mean, daughter of Frankel, 9.5. It might just be stretching the horse's stamina. I don't know. There will be concerns for me. Others in the race here, Hold Fast. Nice filly from Andrew Boring. Yards going well, as we know. This horse picked up a nice, good little win at Kempton back on the 2nd of June. I made him. And won quite, a little bit cosily under David Probert by half a length. But again, would have to step up again. But it would be a big price, Hold Fast. I think she's trained about in the double figures. Yeah, she's about 16s, 18s. Reflection, just go back on it. If we go over the last 6 or 7 winners this race, I mean, the first 3 in the betting have won 90% of these races. So, that's where we're probably looking at. Interesting that Ryan Moore has decided to ride Passion here over the horse I like in Enistimon. We'll have a look at Passion. Saying lovely filly by Galileo. Again, we know that this horse is picking up Group 1s for fun. Last seen at Navan in the Salesville Stakes listed event, winning finishing 4th, over a mile and a quarter. 1 over a mile at Cork last year under Jamie Heffernan. That's the thing for me, that if they fancied, I know Ryan Moore's the man, but if I wanted the horse to pick up a decent prize like this, I mean, it's a 65 grand race to the winner. I would be, no disrespect to Ryan Moore, but I would be bringing over my main man, Seamus Heffernan. I think the guy's phenomenal and he's a very underrated jockey. That's who I would have riding this horse if I was going to have any chance. His other horse in the race is one I fancy actually. It's another filly by Galileo. And it's Enistimon, if I pronounce that correctly. Enistimon, yeah. 10-1, good price. Last seen over a mile and a quarter in a maiden, winning the maiden last time out. Only by a head, but he's a horse that will want further, as now he's stepping up to 11.5 furlongs. And I think we're going to see a big run here. I mean, again, Seamus Heffernan has rode this horse twice. We've got no better replacement than James Doyle. I mean, James Doyle's in a good form at the moment. At a price, I mean, Enistimon could be very interesting. Ralph Beckett here, a horse here called Trefoil. Nice filly by Tifidio. Last seen when finishing 5th in the Pretty Potties filly stakes last year at Newmarket. And that was behind a horse called Run Wild. Now, Run Wild has franked that form. I think actually Run Wild surprised a lot of people, actually, when he went up and won at the Pretty Potty Stakes. I'm sorry, this is recently. Sorry, I do apologise. So, okay. So, I'll track back there. Trefoil had recently run, this year. I do apologise. When beaten by Run Wild, who I think was a surprise winner. She's by Tiffany. I'm not too sure she'll get the mile and a half. But again, if she's drawn well and still free, I wouldn't be surprised to see a big run. Enistimon, stall 10. I think they have a good chance from the stall 10. Shame we won't see Born with Pride here, because I thought Haggis thought that was a quite nice improving horse by Born to See, but obviously that horse is a non-runner. As we've got Passion here, Ade O'Brien's horse. Ade O'Brien has won this quite convincingly. 1, 2, 3 from three occasions at the last 6 years. Won this last time Magic Wand 2 years ago, and took this with Evening Song, and he took this with Bracelet. All reasonable prices, to be fair. I mean, his horses weren't favourite all the time, so But I'm gonna go with O'Brien's now. Second string here. I think Enistimon could run a big race from stall 10. I think half a point each way at 10-1. Sorry, 11-1 with Betway, but we go 10-1. Bet 365, half a point each way in the Riversdale Stakes in the 225. On to 3 o'clock is the King Edward VII Stakes, Group 2. And I won't be surprised here. We're seeing Derby horses here. It's a possibility. And again, I mean, O'Brien's horse form in this race. He won it last year with Japan. It's the only time he's ever won this race. And this year he's got a lovely colt here by Galileo. is Mogul. Comes in at 4-5. Could be the real deal. Was very impressive when winning the Futurities Trophy Stakes of Group 1. Finishing fourth. I apologise. Back in last year, November. Behind a very, very smart horse in Kamiko. Now, we know Kamiko came out and won the Guineas. And he won it well, I think, when beating Wichita. There's another horse I do fancy this week. So Mogul's definitely opened for improvement. 2 good wins. I said a group win. Won the Juvenile Stakes Group 2 last year at Leopardstown prior to taking his maiden at the Curragh. Commands a mark of 108. Ryan Moore comes in. He's only got £2 for that. And considering Kamiko is really rated about 116, 117 now due to the Guineas win, I think Mogul has to be a good thing here at 4-5. Can I see anything taking it on? David Simcock, possibly his horse. Mohican Heights probably is the main danger. I would like to think around the 9-2 mark. She's the unbeaten colt by Australia. Last seen when winning the Stonehenge Stakes, a listed events over at Salisbury, prior to winning on the juvenile standards when in Ireland, when for John Stack, and changed hands to Simcock's yard in the summer of last year. So, again, he's a horse with unknown quantity, but he is by Australia. I just think he might find it a little bit tough taking on the Galileo colt here. I'm going to try and see if we can do a forecast here. There's no point going up for a straight win of 4-5. I mean, when you look at O'Brien's other horse here, he's Arthur's Kingdom. Second last time out. Went second in the Criterium de St. Cloud Group 1 event. The worry here is for me is, okay, he finished 3 lengths behind MK Fancy. However, the form line is terrible. The fact that Mythical got absolutely stuffed recently and Sound of Cannons has been beaten since and does run in this race. But Arthur Kingdom has beaten Sound of Cannons here. But if Mythical's any form line to go through, it's a concern for me. And even though Franklin's decided to, obviously Franklin's got the second string there by the looks of it. I just can't fancy Arthur's Kingdom at all. I think he went further in this. I think this horse is probably, I think, a mile 6 horse, probably a 2-miler. Arthur's Kingdom. So it's Sound of Cannons. I can't see that in. But the thing is that David Simcock won this race back in 2015 with Balos, and he was fancied at that time. So I would like to see some more money come from this Mohican Heights in this race, and I'm going to, it's interesting. Now, if you remember last year, or not last year, last year, I kept putting up a horse of Willie Muir's. That was a horse called Pile Drive, and I did say to someone, I think this horse is going to be pretty smart. I mean, he came out and won a listed event, the Ascendant Stakes over at Haydock, over 8 furlongs on soft ground. That was when he beat Sound of Cannons by a length and a quarter. He then came out into a Group 2 at Newmarket in the Royal Lodge and finished last, and was probably way out of his depth. Way out on that occasion. And second in that race was Kamiko. Sound of Cannons was quite a way in front of him, 16 lengths. But then he's had a run at Kempton, and this was a classic trial, and was beaten by a length and a quarter over just shy of mile and a quarter to a horse called Berlin Tango of Andrew Baldwin's. I mean, no, Andrew Baldwin's horse is just flying at the moment. So, and back in 7th there was Haggis's horse here, Born with Pride. So if they think this Born with Pride has got potential, if Pole Driver is finishing like 8 lengths in front of him, obviously Pole Driver's got to show potential as well. I mean, he was 40 to 1 that day, Pole Driver. Completely outrun his odds. Yeah, he's going to have to step up to win a race like this against, the likes of Mogul, Mohican Heights, even Papa Power, and your Balding's horse. It's just you're playing with fire really. But if you're going to go for a horse each way here, and the fact that this has not been won, twice in a row by a trainer, do you still stick my neck out here and go for this? Do I follow up my form from last year thinking this horse is got potential? So looking at it, I think Mogul's the horse to beat, 4 to 5. I think the horse could be the real deal. He could even be a going forward Derby horse this year, next month in July. Arthur's Kingdom, I think it's got to find a bit more. Even though this horse has beat Sound of Cannons, but it's finished behind Mythical. Mythical's form concerns me. Mohican Heights, I mean, yeah, 2 good wins as a juvenile. Has to be respected. We don't know how strong that Salisbury's race is going to pan out, but this horse was picked up for 520 grand. So it wasn't a cheap pocket change. So I just don't think Pole Driver's got the class to get involved here. I could eat my words, I think the best thing to do, I was going to do a forecast here, but I think we'll leave the race alone because I'm and ahhing about it. I was just going to say I would like to see a big run by Pole Driver. Is all I'm going to say. I think Mogul's the real deal. I think Mohican Knights has got to step up again. Sound of Cannons, I don't fancy the horse whatsoever. Arthur's Kingdom's form is just as bad as Sound of Cannons. So I'm just going to say that leave the race alone or have a little bet on your own, make your own mind up where you want to back in the race. But I'm just going to say I'd like to see Pole Driver or Willie Mules run a big race now. Hopefully, get a place and get second. There's only 6 runners. We're asking for a lot, but there's no bet in the race, no bets. I said I just want to look at and see how Pole Driver runs at 20 to 1. There's been a bit of money in the market for him and a bit of exchanges. 335 is the King Stand Stakes. Also a race I seem to like. As you know, Soldier's Call running this, so didn't run very well, but did run the race. And I can't believe Batash is 4 to 6 or 4 to 5, whatever it is, 4 to 5. I mean, this is, considering we haven't seen, or we've never seen an 8-year-old. Is he 8-year-old or 6? I apologise, he's a 6-year-old. The last 6-year-old to land this race was back in 2015. And yeah, 6-year-olds had a pretty good record in this race, but over the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a few good youngsters coming through have taken the older horses on. End of the day, if Batash turns up, and it is the right Batash that turns up, they're just going to watch him go and he'll just leave him in the wake and he'll win the race by 4 or 5 lengths. He reminds you of a horse called Lock Song. Out it goes, bounds along, boom, finished. It's all over. It's all over in 57 seconds. But like I said, if Batash turns up, it will be very hard to beat indeed. But I just think he's very vulnerable in this race this year. And as we have a look at the race here, I marked off here was Glass Slippers, Kieran Ryan's horse. I mean, obviously Kieran Ryan's yard's not really far at the moment. I mean, I don't know what sort of stats Kieran Ryan is at the moment. Let's have a look. Over the last couple of weeks, I mean, Kieran Ryan's picked up 5 winners from 50. He's at a 9% strike rate. So the yard's not really informed at the moment, and you need to be informed coming into this meeting. I mean, Glass Slippers here, a nice filly by Dream Ahead. It hasn't done nothing wrong. I mean, three wins on a bounce, all on softish ground. Good and soft, so he's not going to be inconvenienced about the ground or the fact that he's I mean, his draw rate, he's drawn in stall 4. Now, over this trip, I would have preferred to be drawn high, if I'd be honest. I think the far side is going to get more of the ground to run, but you never know. I mean, you get stuck to the stand rail, you might get a good run, good toe into the race. But he's won some good races. I mean, he won at Deauville. We're in the Moonlight Cloudless Stakes, and he went to Longchamp and won the Petite Cuvée, and then he went back to Longchamp again and won the De La Baye, which was, which I didn't expect him to win that at 21. He won a cracker at 106. I mean, Tom Eves is the horse. Tom Eves has sat on him now plenty of times. He's won 5 times on him, so he's a quick horse. I mean, on soft ground, I mean, he's clocking up times like, let's have a look. 1 minute dead. It's just over a minute. I mean, as we know, there's Soldier's Call finished stone last, near enough in that Baye. Batash was back just in front of my horse. It was a very hard race on very, very soft ground. If we go back on a good ground on his Group 3 win, he beats the high horse called Shades of Blue Glass by Short Head. Clive Cox's horse, and that was running a time of just over a minute again. So not quick times really. So that would, it's quicker horse than this. I mean, Patash. Let's look at Patash's horses. Now we look at Patash. I mean, his horse won on a Goodwood here last year on good ground. Finished second to Blue Point. Okay. Now Soldier's Call has been back in third there. And that was in a 58, 53. That was quick. Excuse me. And he should have won that race really, because he had a better draw than Blue Point did. He came out of stall 12 and Blue Point came out of stall 1. I mean, Blue Point done bloody well to win the race from where he was. But my concern here is the fact that he's not from free at Ascot. It still just doesn't seem to thrive at Ascot, Batash. And that would be my little concern, really. So, there is a filly in this race I do like. That's right down the bottom there, Liberty Beach of John Quinn's. Now, she was last seen at Haydock last week when beating a horse called Queen Jojo by 3 parts of a length in the Cecil Frow's listed filly stakes. And I thought she done that well. I mean, she came off the pace. She raced very, very freely throughout the race. Took quite a while for Jason Hart to settle her. But when she came to the business end, she was quick. She was going through the gears and she wasn't stopping. That was over 6 furlongs. So if we go back to her 5 furlong form, I mean, she's an Ascot. She won the Queen Mary's Fillies Stakes last year in a Group 2 and finishing 4th to Raffle Prize. And that was over 5 furlongs and good to soft. And she was in front with 100 yards to go. And like I said, this kind of race here, it just all unfolds in the last 100 yards. I mean, things come off the pace, things fly. If you've got a horse that can stay there, I mean, she was drawn 6 that last year, and it went to all the high draws. I mean, Final Song was there, finishing 3rd. Raffle Prize won the race. This year, she's got stall 9. She's got a better stall. She's come out of stall 9 of 11, which I think will suit her. I think she's a big price and a big player here for John Quinn. I mean, she's trained. She's been gambled, guys. Now, you can get 12 to 1 with her Betway. So if you want to get on this horse and you've got a Betway account, she's 12 to 1. She's big. She's a big price. She's only trading usually most firms at 8 to 1, but she's 12 to 1 with Betway at the moment. So, like I say, if you've got a Betway account or you can open one, 12 to 1 is huge. I mean, like I said, she's generally 8 to 1. So I'm going to put her up as a 1 point each way at 12 to 1 with Betway. It's a huge price, I think, she is. We go on to the 410, which is a Duke of Cambridge Stakes. A race I didn't really find interesting for me. I mean, I found it very hard to cycle through it. I didn't come up with many horses in the race that really had a half a chance here, and I lots of if and buts as well. I think you've got to respect Queen Power purely off the back, and I put her up last week when she was beaten by Teremblium in the Dahlia Filly Stakes, and Magic Lily was 11 1/4 back in third. So the front two are well clear. She steps back in trip here to a mile from a mile quarter, so she's going to be fit. She has got Ascot form. She ran the Riversdale last year and finished in fourth, over a mile and a half. So she's got plenty of stamina through the pedigree. She faded 3 furlongs out, just over 3 furlongs out in that race. So I think this step back into a mile is a very shrewd move, in my opinion, by Michael Stout. D'Souza comes in for the ride. Stout won this race back in 2014 with Integral. A nice price, 9-4. But we also have to look out here for the French horses. There's been 2 winners in the last 4 years. I don't know whether if they're a class of these two. I mean, it's Gaffard's horse here, then the bottom here, Wasmeyer. Now, she's got nice draw in stall 7. She was last seen when finishing second in the Prix Maurice. This is stakes over at Longchamp on 7 furlongs on a very soft ground. Prior to that, she had won a listed event at Baden in Germany when landing the Baden Cup, and then she bombed out in the Prix de la Forêt, the Group 1 at the ARC meeting. Prior to that, she was a pretty damn good 3-year-old, winning 2 of her 3 races. So you can't disregard Wesmine. It's very interesting that Dettori has decided to ride this horse instead of Gosnell's horse. I mean, he could have ridden Nazif here. I mean, Nazif was quite impressive last time out when taking a decent race at Kempton when beating Bilzenbrook in the Snowdrops fillies stakes there. The thing is, though, I think Ascot, you have to have Ascot form for this race. You really do. We're going to have to have a look at Jubiloso. I mean, there was someone, his Stout's other runner. She was last seen in the Atalanta Stakes and just completely bombed out by behind Lavender's Blue. She was 4 to 5 favourite to take the race, and she just bombed out. Prior to that, she had won at Newbury, but in novice company. She had 2 cracks at group level. She ran in last year's Coronation Stakes when finishing 3rd to Watch Me. And then she came out in August and finished in the Oak Tree Stakes Group 3 fillies and mares, finishing 3rd to Bilzenbrook. So she hasn't got excellent pattern company form, which would concern me. Jubiloso. I mean, Stout did turn around Parrington did say that this was his best chance of a winner for the week with his filly. It's nicely bred by Shamadal. I mean, Shamadal's picked up a few good races already this year. But I'm going to have to be with Queen Power. I'm hoping she can benefit from that run in the Dahlia Stakes. We're beaten by Teremblium, and hopefully Teremblium will run a big race here. Magic Lady can't be put off either. Charlie Appley's horse, William Buick, kept on 1 pace over a mile. Quite good to firm ground. She might do a lot better now that the ground's gone a little bit softer for her. But she won the listed event at Newbury last year on good ground, and I'm just wondering if the last few runs. I mean, she's got Ascot form. She was 4th in the Riversdale last year. behind Starcatcher, and that trip was too far. I think the fact that they're dropping Queen's Power back in trip here, I think this could be very interesting and a good ride for D'Souza. So I'm going to take on Jubiloso here, Stout's main runner, with Queen's Power here. I think she's a good price. She's 6-1. I think at 1 point each way at 6-1 on Queen Power in the 410 Ascot. On to the final race. We've got 20 runners here as a handicap. Ascot Stakes over nearly 2.5 miles. And again, I picked out many horses for this race, to be fair. I mean, this race over the last 10 years has gone to jump trainers. There's been no flat trainer that's actually won this race. We know Ian Williams has horses on the flat anyway. Who others? Nicky Henderson has flat runners. But if we look at Ian Williams' runner this year, because he took the race last year, he's a horse I do fancy, and he's got young Kieran Fallon on board. That's Blue Laureate. Now, this horse was last seen this year. Last week we were running at Haydock, when finishing a very exceptional good second to Moon King, who was only beaten ahead in that race. Now, the fact that this horse I think will relish the distance here, and Moon King also will relish the distance. I mean, they both were both nicely clear of Rochester House and Mancini in the race. I think these two could run very well. And I think these two, for me, are against the field from that race. Others we could probably look at here, prospectively, Moon King, flat trainer. See, that's what worries me. That's the only reason why I don't give Ralph Beckett's horse a chance here, to especially coming off a £5 penalty, which could definitely disrupt the apple cart here. We have to get up to the top here. Ryan Moore, Nicky Henderson. Now, if Winnie Money's had a horse in here, Ryan Moore will be riding it. But he gets on the mare here, Badana Blue, for Nicky Henderson. Now, this horse is very, very unexposed on the flat. Fourth in the Sagaro Stakes here to DXB. And then mainly on the flat, I mean, it's all not really are exposed really, but I still think at this having to give weights all round, I think he's going to have to struggle a little bit, you know. Okay, yeah, great. Ryan Moore's on board, but here's a few stats for you. Any race over mile 4, this is true stats. Any race over mile 4 that Ryan Moore rides and the ground's going good to soft, he's got a terrible strike rate. He's got minus 43 pound to the pound deficit, which is quite interesting really for a jockey of his nature. So that's what will really put me off backing Ryan Moore in this race. And I think Verdana Blues, even though the horse unexposed at the level, I think Verdana Blue at 9-2-4 as one in this kind of race is just too low. You know, I went back in no horse with that. Andrew Bourne here's got Diocletian. The horse could be interesting. Again, you know, don't know too much about the horse. I mean, last time seen coming out of Chester, very tight track, and winning an average handicap for market 85. Probably would have to step up a bit further. Yeah, it looks more like a Chester horse, a tight track for this horse to win. It might be worth the Chester meeting in the summer period to watch out for this horse. That's Diocletian. Just watch the horse in Manchester. I think this horse definitely wants a tighter track. Mancini, Ian Williams, and William Buick. Again, as I said, you can't write off Ian Williams in this race. I mean, he's got this one in Blue Laureate. Now, Blue Laureate was already beaten Mancini this year. And so has Moon King beat him again. I just think I mean, he's won a stayers race at York last year off a mark of 91 and comes into this off 93. He's only up £2. Good jockeying ball, William Buick. So he's not without an each way chance, Mancini. But I'm going to stick 2 against the field here. I'm not going to muck about here. I'm going to stick 2 against the field. And that's, I have to go with Moon King, purely in the fact that he beat Blue Laureate last time out. I think 8-1 was 9-1 with Betway. I mean, Betway again, giving some cracking prices. I mean, I have to go half a point each way at 9-1 with Betway on Moon King. A little bit sceptical because Ralph Beckett's obviously he's a flat trainer. I'm going to have to stick with a jump hot trainer here. Ian Williams. I think 14-1 across the board here for Blue Laureate. I think this horse will step up, hopefully get a good toe into the race. Will get the trip, I think, and should be staying on and could give Ian Williams his second win in the race in consecutive years. So it's half a point each way at 14-1 on Blue Laureate in the Ascot Stakes. So I'm going to run over these selections again, just so you don't miss them. I would like you to listen to the podcast this week because there's going to be a lot of insight and a lot of analysis here. I mean, I've worked hard on some of these races to try and pinpoint what we can back and what we can't back. You know, so have to be respectful here if you can, and just try to listen to the podcast. Try not to go to just the end. You know, some people just do. So it's the first race is 1:15, which is the Buckingham Palace handicap. And I said there, I'm going to go 1 point each way on Queso at 7-1. And I'm going to have a little quarter each point each way on Greenside at 20s. On to the 150, which is the Queen Anne Stakes, first Group 1 on the card. I'm in Circus Maximus corner here, 2 point winner, 3-1 William Hill. I think very, very hard to beat indeed, I think. And then I was going to put up a half a point each way here on Roseman 18s. Sorry, quarter of a point each way, not half. Quarter of a point each way on Roseman 18s in the Queen Anne Stakes 150. On to the Riversdale Stakes, Group 2 in the 225. I'm going to go against Frank Darling here. I think he would have to step up to win this race. And I'm going to be in the corner of here. I'm going to half a point each way, 11-1 again with Betway on Ennis de Mont for AP O'Brien and James Doyle. On to the 3 o'clock, the King Edward 7 Stakes, Group 2 again. Like I said, I'm not going to have a bet in this race, but I will say again, I just want to see if any more money comes for this pole driver. I mean, there is money still coming. I mean, he was 29-1 on the exchanges about an hour ago. You can get 21 at Bet365. He's now down to 17. So it's a little bit of money each way for the horse as pole driver, but there's no bet for me in the race. 3:35, the Kingsdown Stakes. I'm against Potash. Like I say, you never know what Potash is going to turn up. He's north from 3 at Ascot. Very difficult to see the horse win. My money's going to go 1 point each way at 12-1 on Liberty Beach. And that's with Betway again. In the 410, I'm going to be in the second string for the Stouts yard here, and that's on Queen Power. 1 point each way at 7-1 with Betway again in the Duke of Cambridge Stakes, the 410 at Ascot. That is Queen Power. And the 440, the final race, the Ascot Stakes, 2 against the field here. I'm going to be half a point each way, 9-1 with Betway on Moon King, and a half a point each way on Blue Laureate at 14-1 generally across the board. So that's my selection for the first day at Royal Ascot. I hope you enjoy the podcast, guys. Hope you be lucky. Stay safe. And just on the level, signing out. Have a good evening.